Only at Advent will you find every effective snoring and sleep apnea solution, along with a world-class team that can get your nose working properly again.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Hey, it's 620 WTMJ's Brian D. You know what time of year it is. Snacks around Halloween. Lots of family photos through the holidays. Make sure those pearly whites are looking pearly and white. Go see my guy, Dr. James Michaels at Oconomowoc Dental Care. Whether it's a simple cleaning and exam, a more complex dental procedure, a teeth whitening, or an implant, the team at Oconomowoc Dental Care and Dr. Michaels are going to take great care of you, just like they've taken great care of me. Centrally located between Milwaukee and Madison, the team at Oconomowoc Dental Care is always going to make you as comfortable as possible while you're in the chair and give both you and your family an amazing smile. At Oconomowoc Dental Care, affordable quality dentistry is no longer a dream, it's the reality. Dr. Michael's fantastic and friendly staff can help you out with a no-interest payment plan. We all have to go to the dentist, so don't wait any longer. Go see my guy, Dr. James Michaels at Oconomowoc Dental Care. Call his friendly and caring staff today and make an appointment with my guy, Dr. Michaels.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Okay, I can't take it anymore. This is actually a first for the Wagner Show. I think in all the years we've been doing this, I don't think we've ever used Justin Timberlake as bumper music before. But that is Justin Timberlake and the song "Cry Me a River," which was written supposedly about his breakup with Britney Spears. I thought that's it. Man, have you seen that stuff with Britney Spears lately, where she's like dancing in her panties with the knives and doing that stuff? That's probably not a bad breakup there. I mean, it's just like, okay, what could possibly go wrong with that? Dancing around, taking TikTok videos of yourself dancing in your panties with like butcher knives and things like that. I want to wake up next to that girl. Okay, here is the Cry Me a River story. So we have talked in the past about the travails of U.S. Army Private Travis King. Matter of fact, I think that might have led off the 1 o'clock news. Travis King is the 23-year-old guy from Racine who has just returned to the United States. He is the one who went AWOL. You will recall he was in South Korea, and he had been in a South Korean jail for doing all sorts of stuff, and they decided they were going to ship him back to, I believe he was coming back to Texas, and he was probably, going to be, ushered out of the military or things like that. He thought it was a good idea to, once they dropped him off at the airport in South Korea, instead of getting on the plane, he went AWOL, and he hopped a bus, went up to Panmunjom, which is on the border between North Korea and South Korea, and then he defected. He went to North Korea. Okay, this is a real good idea. He goes to North Korea, and then it becomes sort of this international cause celeb that he's in North Korea. So he's detained in North Korea, and then what ends up happening is after, I don't know, a month and a half, North Korea pretty much decides that they don't want him, either because they don't think there's any propaganda value or whatever. So 71 days after entering the country, he was expelled. So they give him back to us. So what happens is they put him on the plane. They now send him back to the United States. But you've got a soldier who has gone AWOL. All right, well, the news that's coming out is that yesterday, he has been charged in military court with multiple offenses, including desertion, assaulting other soldiers, and child pornography. Let's see. The charges against Private King include desertion for crossing into North Korea, The document also details charges of punching an officer in the head, kicking a staff sergeant in the head in October of 2020. The child pornography charge relates to his activity on social media platform Snapchat, where he is accused of soliciting a minor to post partially nude photos. And we wonder why North Korea didn't want this guy. So anyhow, they bring him back, and now he's facing these charges. The charge of desertion carries up to 3 years confinement. That is the most serious charge. So, okay, he's now got an attorney. I'm looking at the story. The attorney's, giving interviews here. Let me see. This is it. His spirits are okay. He's a 23-year-old man. He's been through a lot, and he's going through a lot. Okay. The attorney says she has grave concerns that he will be okay. He's being held in pretrial confinement. The lead attorney says the conditions there are horrible, and it basically amounts to putting him in solitary confinement right after he's returned from captivity. The attorney says there are long-standing U.S. interests and policies regarding how we treat our soldiers when they return from captivity. Basically, we've got a code of conduct, and a lot of these things they say we want soldiers to do all they can to try to be back home. And this is really an aberration in this case, where the Army said, you know what, we're just going to hoover up everything you can, investigate as hard as we can, throw it all against you, and see what sticks. This is really not the way we've handled before our soldiers when they've been held in enemy captivity. Okay, now let me just stop there for a second. Why was this character held in North Korea? Was he captured? No. Was he kidnapped? No. He defected. He fled. When I hear captivity, I think, hey, you're a prisoner of war. This guy wasn't a prisoner of war. This guy went AWOL. He defected to North Korea. North Korea doesn't want him, and they sent him back. So now we get this story. Oh, this is terrible. I can't believe that they're holding this guy. And no, they're throwing all these charges against him, which brings me to the title of the segment. Cry Me a River. 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. The maximum penalty, my understanding, is for this desertion charge is 3 years. And I don't think that that's out of the question. You cannot have soldiers who do what this guy did. And I'm sorry, I'm sympathetic to all sorts of things that people find themselves in. But any problems that Travis King experiences are because of stuff that Travis King did, whether it's assaulting officers, soliciting child pornography, or deciding he thought it was a good idea to go AWOL into, of all places, North Korea. 855-616-1620. If he is convicted, and again, you're innocent until you're proven guilty, but in this particular case, I don't think there's too many extenuating circumstances behind what happened here. This isn't a whodunit or a what was done. If he's found guilty, I think this is one where you do throw the book at him. You cannot have soldiers deserting. 855-616-1620. Are you sympathetic to Private King? We discuss in a moment.
Stick around. Jeff Wagner is right around the corner.
Spaceship to Debbie. Come in, Debbie. Traffic is slowing down.
Yeah, Captain, there's an accident 2 miles ahead. Take the next exit for a quicker trip.
Making it through Milwaukee traffic isn't rocket science. Debbie Lazaga is looking out for you on the roads.
Traffic has woken up. We have an accident. We got a little bit of heavier traffic. We got pockets of heavy traffic. So that's going to be tacking on a couple extra minutes there.
Follow her on Facebook and Twitter. Only on WTMJ.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Flimsy, feeble, flaccid. That's how you can describe most pre-approval letters these days. Heck, a lot of big banks issue pre-approval letters using soft credit pulls instead of real credit reports. Do you really want to compete in today's still low inventory market with a soft credit pull and a pre-approval that's silent on 2 of the 3 critical elements of a mortgage approval? A rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet not only verifies your credit with a real credit report, We also verify your income and down payment, and then issue a letter with a $2,000 guarantee to back it up. And now, Accunet is issuing property-specific pre-approvals that often come with this sweet phrase: no appraisal required. That's right, Accunet may be able to issue your pre-approval at or above the seller's asking price without needing an appraisal. Today's home market is still a metaphorical knife fight. Your bank is offering you, well, a pocket knife. Accunet is Crocodile Dundee. Now that's a knife, mate. Click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Hey, the future of joint pain relief is right here in Milwaukee. It's QC Kinetics, Advanced Regenerative Medicine, and it's amazing. Hey, it's Greg Matzik. If you've been told more steroids or surgery are your only options, don't be so fast. Get a second opinion and learn more about how you can harness your own body's healing agents to attack that joint pain. I'm talking lasting relief. QC Kinetics doesn't mask the pain. These treatments go to the very root of the problem, using concentrated healing properties placed directly in your joint to restore and repair that damaged tissue. Imagine living your life this fall with no more pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulder, or your back, with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Hey, life is all about motion, and QC Kinetics is giving people their lives back with these all-natural treatments. Call the local medical professionals and get a free consultation today. QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. Call 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Again, 414-285-3474.
This is Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
855-616-1620. You know, this. Okay, so this Travis King, this guy from Racine who gets himself in all sorts of trouble in South Korea, ends up in a South Korea hoosegow for a little bit. He's looking at charges that he assaulted officers. They're investigating him for soliciting a minor for child porn. But the big thing is he decides to go AWOL, flees the airport, hops a bus, gets up to Panmunjom, and then defects. And so, yes, he's held in North Korea for 71 days. We don't know what happened in North Korea for 71 days, but he went to North Korea voluntarily. The attorney for him says, oh, he was held in captivity. Well, okay, to me, again, when I hear captivity, I'm thinking, all right, you're a prisoner of war or you're a hostage. He was none of that. He went to North Korea voluntarily. Now, he might not have liked what happened to him when he got to North Korea. Gee, who could be possibly surprised by that? But now he's come back. Now he's facing a number of charges, but the most significant one is desertion, which, if convicted, could carry up to 3 years of confinement. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. I don't apologize for this. I think he gets every darn day he deserves. Jeff, Travis King was running because he got caught with child porn. He then claims the military is racist to cover up his tracks, and the media goes after this like catnip. Charge this guy with everything. Yeah, Jeff, I'm sympathetic to King, but actions have consequences. The fact that his mom is trying to blame his desertion on the Army, to me, is absolutely mind-boggling. There you go. Jeff, I think the most amazing thing is that there are attorneys who would try this tactic of sympathy knowing the full story themselves. Well, again, if this was somebody who was held in a Vietnamese prisoner of war camp, you're in the Hanoi Hilton, and you're there for 3 or 4 years, and finally at the end of the Vietnam War, you are returned, and the military decided, right before you were captured as a prisoner of war, we were going to bring you up on charges of insubordination or something. If the military was pursuing that, I would say, really? But that's not what happened. To the extent the guy found himself in a bad situation in North Korea, it was because he, wait for it, deserted into North Korea. Mike in Illinois. Mike, you're on WTMJ. Hello.
Good afternoon, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they need to find the biggest book they can and throw it at him. First of all, he committed crime, he assaulted his officers, and then he deserted. All those things are not good for a soldier to do, obviously. You need to set an example with him, and it should be as harsh as possible under the law.
Yeah, I guess I just look at this and I think, what are we missing here? You have a guy who was obviously a problem for the military. I mean, he got himself in trouble in South Korea for getting into fights and things like that. Apparently, you got the child pornography stuff. I don't know about that, but you've also got the assaulting the officers. So it wasn't like this was a great soldier to begin with. And then he makes the inexplainable decision to think things are going to be better for him in North Korea. You go over the hill. All right, that's fine. But then when the hill sends you back, there's consequences. Yeah.
Yes, and the fact that he's playing the race card too, he should get something for that as well.
Thanks. Well, that's it. I think again that's kind of the explanation. Oh, this was terrible in the military and things like that. Okay, well, if your reaction to I don't like being in the military is I'm going to assault superior officers, I'm going to get in fights in South Korea, and then I'm going to defect to North Korea. Well, I think the most interesting thing is it's clear that North Korea didn't even want this guy because, if he had something of value, North Korea would not have sent him back. But this was North Korea sending him back. In any event, I guess what sort of irritated me was I'm reading this attorney, and he's talking about, this is a terrible way for the military to treat people who've been held in captivity. The only captivity that was involved here was because of, what he ended up doing. Dennis in Milwaukee. Hi, Dennis.
Hey, Jeff, I agree with you. He deserves everything he gets and double, okay? But I think one thing that I haven't heard anybody talk about at all is the Army had a hand in this whole debacle, and no one has been saying anything about that. This guy was in a cell in South Korea. The Army knew that they were going to have him arraigned once he was released and supposed to jump on a plane back of his own volition. That's like asking the Kia boys to turn themselves in for stealing cars. Of course he's going to bolt. I mean, who knew he was going to go to North Korea to do it? But, I mean, come on. Let's get real. There should have been at least a CID or MPs there to meet him as he came out of that cell, put him on a transport, and back to the States where he would have been arraigned. And none of this would have gone on. Yeah,
Dennis, by the way, I don't disagree with you, and I think that's a separate question, but I think it is a fair question that if you've got somebody who, again, is being sent back for discipline, is it really the procedure that you just leave him at the airport and trust to his own devices that he's going to get on that plane and then voluntarily report? That is a very, very fair question, and I think it's something that people should have to answer because that's always never made any sense to me at all. But as far as Private Travis King, if he ends up getting convicted and spends another 2 or 3 years behind bars, I'm not going to cry a river at all because, well, consequences do have actions. Play stupid games, and I can't think of a stupider game than defecting to North Korea. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
It's WTMJ's Debbie Loziga for Comfort Awnings. You've heard me talk about the wonderful new retractable awning the team at Comfort Awnings installed at my home. Now I can have all the cookouts and get-togethers in my backyard with some extra shade and relaxation for my guests. Comfort Awnings is a local family-owned company in Burlington. It provides expert installation in southeast Wisconsin and northern Illinois. Right now, you'll receive a free motor with the purchase of awnings or screens until the end of October. Call 414-AWNINGS for a free estimate or visit comfortawnings.com.
At Blaine's Farm and Fleet, we've helped hunters gear up for the season for over 6 decades. So as you prep for this year's hunt, shop unbeatable deals on supplies to make your trip successful. Like 40-pound bags of Easy Heat wood fuel pellets, just $4.99. 42-megapixel Moultrie trail cam kits, only $69.99. While you're in for hunting gear, save $8 on select bags of Iams dog food. And a 2.5-ton Laren floor jack with case is on sale, $64.99.
Find value at Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
It's David Nason from WTMJ's The Fix-It Show here with Chris Mancuso, owner of Accurate Basement Repair. Hi, Chris.
Hey, David. Courage, honor, and integrity. That is what I brought over to Accurate Basement Repair Team following my 25 years of proud service as a Milwaukee firefighter. This is the same foundation that Accurate is built on.
As a home inspector, I trust Accurate Basement Repair for all your basement and waterproofing needs. They're not just good, they're accurate. Learn more at AccurateBasementRepair.com.
When big national banks make a decision, it requires many emails, phone calls, and plenty of video conferences from around the globe. When we make a banking decision, we do it over a cup of coffee in our office. Finding a local bank that's passionate about the community and knows your name is hard to find these days.
Good morning, Diane. Welcome back.
The search is over.
Waterstone Bank, proud to be your local bank for over 100 years. Love your bank as much as we love this community. Waterstone Bank, Waukesha, Milwaukee, and Washington County.
Member FDIC. You're listening to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
My advice, get out while the getting's good. Now, there are several just stories that bring this point to bear. First of all, if you are an American citizen, or even if you have dual citizenship, you have no business being anywhere near Russia right now. Now, we've seen these stories before. You saw it play out with Brittany Griner, the WNBA player, who made the decision that she was going to fly to Russia right before they started to invade Ukraine. Everybody knows the story. She had a very, very small quantity of hashish oil that she stupidly either put in or left in her luggage. But it was a small thing. She was grabbed. She was held as a political prisoner, and they were able to, essentially get the Biden administration to ransom this woman by releasing the merchant of death in exchange for her. But we understand how it works in Putin's Russia, that if you're an American citizen, they're going to grab you. The latest example of this, the Washington Post is reporting it. Russia detains radio journalist accused of being a foreign agent. This is from Latvia. Russian authorities have arrested an editor for Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, an American news outlet based in Prague and financed by the U.S. government, accusing her of collecting information about the Russian military that could damage the nation's security. The editor holds dual U.S. and Russian citizenship. So this is one of these deals. She's a dual citizen. She had traveled to Russia for family reasons. Her detention Wednesday in Kazan, southwestern Russia, follows the arrest of the Wall Street reporter Evan Gershkovich, a U.S. citizen who was seized by Russian agents in March and charged with spying. And then the Washington Post story goes on to talk about how her arrest highlights the continuing dangers for journalists traveling in wartime Russia and operating in an environment in which senior officials have described their work as part of an information war against Moscow. Then it goes on to talk in detail about how they grabbed her. But here's the bottom line. She made this decision to voluntarily go to Russia. Now, she does hold dual Russian citizenship, and they grabbed her. And they're holding her, and they're probably not going to let her go for the near future, which again underscores that this whole point of, making the decision, if you've got U.S. ties, and journalist or not, that doesn't matter. Russia doesn't care. Making the decision to go to Russia is a very, very bad decision, because it's not like the United States, and there's not a presumed innocent thing, and there's not constitutional rights. Russia is going to grab you, and they are going to hold you. All right, so from her position, it was don't go. All right, the other story is get out while the getting's good. Yesterday, the State Department urged Americans to make plans to leave Lebanon as soon as possible. Earlier this week, they put out a notice, the State Department, telling they issued essentially it's a security warning, which advises Americans that you want to be on watch because of what's going on. But they've essentially told people in Lebanon, if you're an American in Lebanon, get out. We recommend that U.S. citizens leave while commercial options are still available. We recommend that U.S. citizens who choose not to depart prepare contingency plans for emergency situations. Now, of course, they've also issued a warning telling Americans don't travel to Lebanon because of the unpredictable security situation related to rocket missiles and artillery exchanges between Israel and Hezbollah. Okay, so for people who don't know the geography of the region, Lebanon is to the north of Israel. Lebanon has Hezbollah, which is an Iranian-backed military force which is committed to the overthrow of Israel and the extermination of all Jews. So you've got Hezbollah, which is actually a more powerful military force and a better trained military force than Hamas, which tends to be just plain old-fashioned terrorists. You know, Hezbollah is a different military force. So, and Hezbollah operates with impunity in Lebanon. So what the State Department is saying, don't go to Lebanon. And secondly, they are saying to Americans that are in Lebanon, look, we don't know what's going to happen, but right now you can still get out of Lebanon, so get out. Our number is 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. Now, I understand it's in some respects it's easier said than done. You know, let's say you've been living in a country for 5 or 10 years or 15 years, and you've got roots and you're dug in this fashion, and maybe you've got family that are over there or whatever. But when the U.S. State Department says, look, we know what's going on here. This is a volatile situation. This can completely go to you-know-where in a matter of moments. And the State Department says, get out. All right, is there any excuse for staying? 855-616-1620. And if you do make the decision to stay, is it pretty much on you what's going to happen? We've seen Hamas taking hostages, right? If you decide, and again, I hope none of this happens. I hope cooler heads prevail. But if after the State Department says, get out, you make the decision that you are going to stay and you get grabbed up by Hezbollah or whatever, is it on you? 855-616-1620. We discuss in a moment.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
According to the U.S. debt clock, our debt is over $32 trillion and climbing. The question is, how do we pay it off? One of the most likely answers is increasing taxes. Now think about your retirement accounts. Do you want to pay taxes on some of that money now when rates are historically low, or later when rates are potentially higher? At Drake & Associates, we can help you create a plan so your retirement is tax efficient as possible. If you'd like to continue your education, we have our Retirement Ready Toolkit, which includes guides on retirement tax savings. To receive this complimentary toolkit, call or text TAX to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting TAX to 414-409-9982. When taxes go up, will you be ready? Call or text now.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
So I came to Advent because I was experiencing recurrent sinus infections. As a new mom, it was really kind of difficult.
Many of our patients complain of sinus infections. The headaches, fatigue, and nasal stuffiness have a profound effect on their lives.
I just felt like your sickness starts affecting your energy level and, the things that you really enjoy doing. That really was a breaking point for me.
So Molly came to Advent. Abnormally tight sinuses and swollen turbinates led to simple breathing triangle solutions that ended up taking about 20 minutes in office. And very soon thereafter, she was breathing freely.
I'm just in awe at the amount of air that that I'm able to breathe in and out each night, and I haven't had a sinus infection since the procedure.
I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. When you breathe well, you do live better.
Results may vary.
Goodyear, Dunlop, Kelly, Continental, General, you name it, we got it.
Plus, free flat tire repair, free tire rotations, and more.
So when you're due for tire service, schedule it at richlawns.com.
That's Rich Lawns with 2 N's.
Rich Lawns.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement.
At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Hey, Brian. I think it's time to get serious about new windows and front door for our home.
I agree. It will save us money in the long run to eliminate the draft.
I was thinking more about our curb appeal, but yes, the draft thing too.
J&J Contractors in Greendale have been around for 40 years and have great reviews.
Go give them a call.
J&J Contractors' skilled and certified team uses high-quality materials for all your exterior needs. J&J Contractors do it all. Windows, doors, siding, roofing, and gutters.
Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
The breaking news story is that Hamas has apparently released 2 American women that it was holding as hostage. I believe that there's still other Americans that are being held, and close to 200 Israelis that were taken in the attacks a couple weeks ago. But Lebanon, which is to the north of Israel, but shares a border. Lebanon, which is where Hezbollah operates. And right now, everybody's trying to make sure that Hezbollah doesn't decide to get into this. That's one of the reasons why you've got the U.S. carriers that are in that particular area. But the State Department has said, hey, if you're an American living in Lebanon, well, how can I put this nicely? Get the hell out. That's what they're saying, because they cannot guarantee your safety. They can't guarantee that there's not going to be some sort of, again, war between Hezbollah and Israel that's going to break out. They can't protect your safety. They can't. I think they might have closed the U.S. embassy. They can't guarantee that they're going to be able to get you out. And as we've seen, some of these crazy radicals, they're taking prisoners. They're beheading people. So my question is, if having been told to get out while you still can, because there still is a commercial exit, you can still take commercial aircraft and things like that out. If people, for whatever reasons, make the decision to stay, I don't mean to be heartless about this, but you're on your own. As far as I'm concerned, Jeff, you couldn't pay me to leave the U.S. anymore. I've thought that way for a year. These people are, the people that stay are idiots. Well, I mean, that might be a little harsh. I understand. In some cases, you got people who perhaps you've been in Lebanon for years and things like that. But maybe this is one of those times where, I'm going to come back and visit friends in the United States and just hang out for a while and see what the next couple weeks or the next couple months bring, which I think is a very, very reasonable position. Jeff, whatever happened to common sense and accountability? If you are abroad and something happens to you, as you would say, go with God. What don't you understand? Get out, in capital letters. Jeff, the minute you leave the U.S., you better be prepared at any time to get out of wherever you want and get back here. You're a visitor as long as you live there. To me, it's no different than staying in your house in Florida with a hurricane coming. They told you well in advance to get out, so get out or face what could happen to you. To me, it's that simple. Steve in Oak Creek. Steve, you're on WTMJ. Hello.
Hello, and I would agree that if the State Department says get out, you better get out, and if you don't, then it's your responsibility, and you suffer any consequences if there are some. Other news reports have also said that Hezbollah has 100,000 rockets prepared to rain on Israel, which is just incomprehensible to imagine.
Yeah, exactly. And Israel's got that Iron Dome, but this is going to... this would certainly test that. But yeah, Hezbollah trained military forces, and you know very well that if Hezbollah does that, you know very well that Israel is going to retaliate. And that's part of, I think, the reason the State Department is saying there's a real chance that if things go south, and they could go south, you're going to be in the middle of a war zone. Who wants to be in the middle of a war zone? Yeah,
absolutely agree. It's going to get crazier.
Yeah, no, right. Thanks for the call, and hopefully cooler heads will prevail. Hopefully things will simmer down. But if I'm an American citizen in Lebanon right now, and the State Department tells me get out while you can, I'm getting out while I can. Now maybe I'm hoping that I'm not going to have to. If I love living in Lebanon, I'm hoping maybe that I'm going to be able to come back at some point in time in the hopefully near future, and that nothing happens, that there's no rocket assaults, and that you're not in this situation. But there's no guarantees of this. And so, first of all, it's like, are you going to stay in the war zone? That's number one. But number two, are you going to be at risk of being taken hostage or whatever? Because we know that that's the type of stuff that happens. And if you're an American in Russia right now, I think you're out of your mind. I flat out think you're out of your mind, because you can be grabbed off the street at any hour of the day or night. The secret police can come into your house. They can grab you. They can accuse you of being a spy or whatever. And, there's not too much recourse. In the case of, being in the Middle East right now, specifically Lebanon, which, has this huge presence of Hezbollah, if you want to stay, that's fine, but you have to understand that we might not be able to come and get you out. I mean, there's no question about it. And maybe that's one of the times that you decide, hey, I'm going to come back with friends or whatever. One of our texters is saying, well, what are they supposed to live on? Well, I don't know, clean out your bank account or whatever. That's not the issue. It's kind of like saying, okay, well, when there's that hurricane coming and you want to evacuate, how are you supposed to, what are you going to live on? You're really going to leave your possessions? Yes, get out of there, because your safety is more important. That's when you call friends and say, can I stay with you on your couch or whatever? Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner, WTMJ.
More Jeff Wagner right after this. Stay in touch. You can reach us on the Old National Bank talk and text line at 855-616-1620. Old National Bank. Get old.
Hun, we need to stop putting off getting life insurance.
I know. It's just been so busy, and I'm sure the cost is out of our budget.
Well, Jen told me that they got a $500,000 term life insurance policy from Ethos for less than $23 a month. All online with no complicated forms and no medical exam. All they had to do was answer a few health questions.
Wait, no medical exam and all online?
I know, right? It's not easy to think about, but if something happened to you, James and I would be...
Okay, I get it. Let's get a quote from Ethos right now. Wow, you were right. There's no medical exam, and Ethos makes the whole online process fast and easy. And look at these rates and coverage options. It's great protection and totally fits our budget.
Ethos. They've removed all the barriers from getting coverage. Go to checkethos.com to get your free online quote. That's checkethos.com. Quote based on a healthy, non-smoking 30-year-old male with a 20-year term policy. Rates may vary.
For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
SemperFiRoofing.com.
Hi, folks. This is Hank Albert, owner of BBC Lighting. As the largest lighting supplier to new home builders and decorators in Wisconsin, our huge showroom displays all the finest brands of lighting and ceiling fans, including such top brands as Visual Comfort, Tech, and many more. And our expert staff will assist you in making the right selections. Our prices are always the lowest. I guarantee it. If it's lampshades or repairs you need, we do all that too. There's something for everyone at BBC, including fun for the kids and our famous free popcorn. BBC is open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 and on Saturday from 10 to 4. We're located at 20th and St. Paul Avenue, across from Sobelman's and Bachman Furniture, all near the Potawatomi Casino. Stay safe and healthy, my friends.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. This is Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
If you are a fan of former President Donald Trump, I can't tell you how bad this news is, but it's not good. The Georgia case, which is the case that's brought by the district attorney in Fulton County, which is Atlanta, and this was, I always thought this case was a stretch. But one of the things that happens when you charge lots of people is it's really expensive. If you're a defendant, it's really expensive to mount a defense. And so you can, in some respects, you can win, but you can lose. Even if you go to trial and you end up getting acquitted, what ends up happening is you have huge legal bills. Rudy Giuliani, and I take no position on whether he's guilty or innocent. I mean, he's heading for bankruptcy because he's looking at over $1 million in legal bills already. So Sidney Powell, she was one of the people who was ubiquitous in the aftermath of the 2020 election. She was, on TV all the time, and she was one of the principal architects, or at least the person that was on TV spouting a lot of the more crazy conspiracy theories that were being advanced to try to argue why the election had in fact been stolen. Well, okay, Sidney Powell was one of the people who was charged in connection with that Georgia case, charged in the racketeering case and things like that. She has cut a deal. She is pleading guilty to misdemeanor charges. So first of all, it's going to be a misdemeanor, not a felony. My guess is a misdemeanor conviction probably even lets her keep her law license. On top of that, she is the deal she's cut guarantees that she will not get jail time. In open court, she admitted to orchestrating a scheme to access voting equipment in a rural Georgia county in hopes of substantiating conspiracy theories that the voting machines were flipping votes. So she's pled guilty to a misdemeanor charge in connection with election interference. Okay, that's all well and good, but she's also agreed to cooperate against Donald Trump and others. Now, I don't know what the significance of that cooperation would be. I don't know if she's got any sort of great information, but now you have somebody that's in the quote-unquote so-called conspiracy who actually had meetings with Trump, et cetera, who would be in a position to testify what the results were. Don't know how bad this is, but when you have co-defendants who are, flipping, that's not great. In addition, it seems to me, and this is just from the outside looking in, that the district attorney in Georgia pretty much gave away the store. I mean, these went from multiple felony charges, carrying decades in prison, to now it's a misdemeanor charge with a recommendation of no jail. That would suggest to me that she's got some good information, and that at least the prosecutor, if the big fish is Donald Trump, the prosecutor thinks that by having her testify against him, she'll help her case against Trump. Don't know that for sure, but if you're a defendant, it's never really, and you're the one that they're really going after, and he is the one they're going after, it's never really a good thing when one of your co-defendants flips. Okay, we are going to lighten it up in the next hour of the program. Don't go anywhere. This is Jeff Wagner, WTMJ.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
Hey, the future of joint pain relief is right here in Milwaukee. It's QC Kinetics, Advanced Regenerative Medicine, and it's amazing. Hey, it's Greg Matzik. If you've been told more steroids or surgery are your only options, don't be so fast. Get a second opinion and learn more about how you can harness your own body's healing agents to attack that joint pain. I'm talking lasting relief. QC Kinetics doesn't mask the pain. These treatments go to the very root of the problem, using concentrated healing properties placed directly in your joint to restore and repair that damaged tissue. Imagine living your life this fall with no more pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulder, or your back, with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Hey, life is all about motion, and QC Kinetics is giving people their lives back with these all-natural treatments. Call the local medical professionals and get a free consultation today. QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. Call 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Again, 414-285-3474.
Get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval to buy at ACCUNET.com.
Your hometown hub for everything that matters. The latest news, traffic, weather, and sports on Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
Good afternoon, 2 o'clock. We have cloudy skies and 57 degrees. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. 27-year-old man arrested for allegedly starting a fire on a boat at the Reef Point Marina in Racine. A dock was also damaged. Kenneth Coker III picked up this morning in Kenosha County. He's in Racine County Jail right now, charged with 2 counts of arson. Bail set at $10,000. Republicans are moving on from Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan. He's no longer the party's nominee for Speaker of the House following a secret secret ballot held behind closed doors this afternoon. This comes after he lost 3 rounds of voting this week on the House floor. Just ahead of jury selection in what was to be his trial, former President Trump co-defendant Kenneth Chesebro pleading guilty today in the election tampering case in Georgia. ABC's Aaron Katersky says he was facing a single felony count of conspiracy to file false documents.
Chesebro is the first to plead guilty to a felony, and the exact charge is conspiracy to commit filing false documents. Chesebro is an attorney who worked with the Trump campaign, prosecutors say, to orchestrate this scheme to seat fake electors who would have certified that former President Trump won the election in Georgia, even though he lost.
He agreed to testify in the case against others. Yesterday, another former Trump attorney, Sidney Powell, also pleaded guilty and agreed to testify. As the situation grows worse in Gaza, pressure is growing on Israel, Egypt, and the U.S. to get humanitarian aid into the Strip. Electricity, food, and water have been cut off to Gaza's roughly 2 million inhabitants as Israel's military prepares for a possible ground assault. Speaking to ABC's Matt Rivers, Cindy McCain, executive director of the UN World Food Program, says Gaza needs supplies now.
This isn't just about starvation, it's also about disease that can spread wildly if we don't care for it right now.
With massive long-term consequences down the road.
Yes, massive long-term consequences.
More than 3,700 people have been killed in Gaza under a barrage of continuous Israeli airstrikes. Those strikes are a response to the Hamas terror attack that caused the biggest loss of life in Israel's history, more than 1,400 people. The lawyer for Travis King, the Army private from Racine who ran into North Korea last July and is now accused of desertion, says she's preparing a vigorous defense. She tells the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel she's concerned about King now being held in pretrial confinement at a facility outside Fort Bliss, Texas. King graduated from Park High School in 2020. While fares remain on the table for the future of the Hop streetcar, they're not the priority for the city's Department of Public Works. In addition to the costs needed to install and operate fare collections, WTMJ's Adam Roberts tells Wisconsin's Afternoon News there's another major factor at play.
Keeping the Hop equitable for all economic stratas is important to them as well. I think in our study, we noted about 66% of the ridership makes less than $74,000 a year.
A brand new Rolling Stones album is officially released today.
Hackney Diamonds is the first album with new Stones music in 18 years. It's quite a feat for a band that's been around for 60.
We are witnessing rock and roll in its oldest form now, really.
Jeff Bensky owns Top Shelf Guitar Shop in Bayview.
Nobody ever got a chance to see rock and roll get old, and these guys are still doing it. They're carrying the torch.
But new music can sometimes be a tough sell for an old band. However, Bensky says it'd be unfair to the Stones if fans don't give it a shot. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money. In the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update, the Dow is still down 184 points, NASDAQ down 144, S&P 500 is off 36. Annex Ignite, Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, they'll meet you where you're at. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 2:04.
Hey, this weekend is Sweetest Day weekend. Don't forget your sweetheart. WTMJ's John Mercure here. I highly recommend taking your love to the amazing Mind Chef restaurant in Hartford. It's the most affordable Sweetest Day dining destination. Check this out. The Mind Chef has lowered their prices on their Wednesday and Friday fish fry. The cod is all you can eat, and it's just $9.99. Now the shrimp, perch, and poor man's lobster are $9.99, and all you can eat. Don't pay $16 to $20. At just $9.99, this is the best fish fry value anywhere. Add a delicious old-fashioned, a Manhattan, or a glass of wine for a perfect fish fry. And buy one dessert. Your sweetheart's dessert is free. Today, on Sweetest Day, the prime rib dinner is under $25. That is amazing. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford and in Oshkosh, ample seating, close parking. Fabulous food, big fun. Don't spend a lot of money on Sweetest Day to have a great time. Reserve now. MineshaftRestaurant.com. Just relax. It's the amazing Mine Shaft Restaurant.
Haul away big savings this weekend at Fleet Farm's Truckload Savings Event. Like 40-pound bags of Superior Hardwood Fuel Pellets, 2 for $11. Morton Clean and Protect Water Softener Pellets are only $5.89 a bag. Save on 40 pounds of black oil sunflower seed, just $18.99. And get a free $15 Fleet Farm gift card with select Science Diet pet food. Stock up on everything you need for everyday life at Fleet Farm.
Hi, this is Wayne Larrabee, the voice of Green Bay football. You know, fans count on me to make the right call every time, and I can continue to do that thanks to Summit Eye Care of Wisconsin. When my vision began to drift, my eye doctor said Summit Eye Care was the best place to go. Using the latest adjustable implants, the doctors at Summit were able to fine-tune my vision. In fact, my vision is now the best it's ever been. Summit Eye Care was the right call to help me see all the action on game days.
To schedule an appointment at one of their locations, visit summitiwi.com.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update.
In a stunning announcement on Thursday, Bucs assistant coach Terry Stotts informed the team of his desire to resign from his position. The Bucs are back in preseason action tonight, the final preseason game of the season, as they will play host to the Memphis Grizzlies. Chris Middleton is expected to suit up for his debut of the preseason. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m. Over to baseball, where Texas won the first 2 games on the road in their ALCS series, and then Houston returning the favor, winning their last 2 games on the road, including last night's 10-3 Game 4 win. That series now sitting at 2 games apiece. And the Diamondbacks score a run in the bottom of the ninth to win Game 3 by a final of 2-1. Philly still leading that series 2 games to 1. Game 4 is scheduled for tonight. Over to the NFL, where the Jacksonville Jaguars kicked off Week 7 with a 31-24 win against New Orleans. And lastly, the Michigan football program is now under a second NCAA investigation, this time for allegedly violating rules related to sign stealing. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Take a look now at your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. No major delays out there, just some construction-related ones still. I-43 southbound from Brown Deer Road to downtown, normally about an 11-minute drive. It'll take you about 17 minutes this afternoon.
Traffic is sponsored by Hall Mazda Milwaukee. Visit hallmazdamilwaukee.com.
Help fellow commuters. See an accident? Call the WTMJ Hall Mazda Traffic Tip Line, 414-238-9329. Visit Hall Mazda to support their Drive Out Cancer event.
WTMJ 5-day forecast. Increasing cloudiness tonight with a chance of showers mainly in the northeast. An overnight low 45. Chance for morning showers, maybe a few sprinkles in the afternoon. Sunny tomorrow, partly sunny with a high 58. Sunshine Sunday, 53 for the high. Chance for Monday afternoon and evening showers with a high 58. And a chance of rain again Tuesday with a high 68. Madison 55, Green Bay 58, Milwaukee 57. I'm Connie Weber. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 2:08.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, it's the Jeff Wagner Show. Now, here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
I know I promised lighter subject, but I do have a couple comments on what's going on. This dysfunctional stuff happening in Washington, D.C., the inability of Republicans to agree on somebody to be the speaker, which is, of course, a complete and total embarrassment. But there is a subtext to this. One of the things that's playing out is the whole notion of what goes around comes around. And I've really been, I guess, thinking a lot about that over the course of the last couple days. Jim Jordan, who is, he's wanted to be the House Speaker for the longest time. Jim Jordan came to Washington. He was elected to the House, I want to say it was 2007. He was part of the Tea Party movement. And since he got there, he has been, one of his colleagues described him as a legislative terrorist. He has been one of these hardcore people who have been largely unwilling to compromise for the last 15 years. And in some respects, they have held the Republicans, the rest of the Republicans, they've kind of held them hostage. Okay, we're not going to agree to this or this or this unless you do absolutely what it is that myself and a relatively small handful of my compatriots want. And he's affiliated himself with the Donald Trump wing of the party, but he is, figuratively speaking, he's a bomb thrower. He's been a bomb thrower for years and years and years. So he wants to be the Speaker of the House. And there's a lot of people who believe that he was one of the folks who orchestrated the demise of Kevin McCarthy, because a number of the people that supported were essentially in his camp and viewed him as, okay, this alternative that's going to be there. Well, okay, so they get rid of Kevin McCarthy. Steve Scalise is the next person up, but a lot of the people who are aligned with Jordan, they say, well, we're not going to support him, even though the majority of the caucus wants it. So then Jim Jordan, he becomes the person, okay, well, we're going to put him up. Well, a number of what I would say moderate Republicans, still solid conservatives, they say enough is enough. I mean, this guy has been a legislative, that's the phrase, terrorist for the last 15 years. He's held this caucus hostage time after time after time. He's put some of our political careers at risk because he's been so unwilling to compromise, and now he wants to be the caucus leader. And they're saying, no, we're not going to do it. So then the Jim Jordan crowd, what the strategy was, okay, if they don't want to support us voluntarily, we're going to bully these people, these 20 or 30 Republicans. We're going to bully them. And what we're going to do is we're going to have Sean Hannity call them out. And we're going to go into the right-wing universe, and we're going to have people threaten to cut off money from them. And we're going to threaten to find people that are going to run primary opponents against these people unless they give in. And in general, not only did that not get people to give in, but it cost them even more support because people were like, we're not going to be bullied by this guy. We've had enough. So there were multiple votes. He doesn't have enough to become the speaker. And now he's apparently they had a secret ballot. And the conclusion was they're not going to get to a majority with him. So they've got to come up with a plan. I was going to say it's plan B, but they've got to come up with a plan D or E or F or G or whatever. So everybody's separating for the weekend. They'll come back Monday. They'll try to get a handle on this. But it's one of the classic examples of what goes around comes around. And you go to Washington, and for 15 years, you set yourself up, you make your reputation, you develop your national profile as being this guy that is willing to blow anything up, doesn't want to do any sort of compromise, doesn't care what the positions you take, how that impacts your colleagues, not just Democrats, but how it impacts your fellow Republicans. And then, okay, well, I want to be the leader of the Republicans, and you're surprised that some people decide, hey, I remember all this you-know-what that you've pulled over the last 15 years. I'm sorry, I can't support you. It is a classic example of what goes around comes around. So what, Jeff, should happen? Well, here's what should happen. In a sane world, and we do not live in a sane world, I concede that. In a sane world, people should do some soul searching over the weekend, and they should recognize that we don't need a conservative firebrand. We don't need a squishy Republican liberal. What we need to do is find somebody who is mainstream, who appreciates that, sometimes you do, in fact, have to compromise. Now, I've been giving this lecture for the last couple of weeks. Politics, write it down, is the art of the possible. Politics is what can you get? What's the best you can get under the circumstances? In the case of Washington, D.C., you've got Democrats that control the U.S. Senate, you've got a Democrat who is the president, and you've got Republicans who control the House of Representatives, but only by an extremely narrowed margin. And if this foolishness continues to go on, you pretty much guarantee that by November of 2024, you're not going to have a Republican majority. So what you need to do is you say, look, here's what we need to do. We need to find somebody who can bring us all together. The people, the handful, the Matt Gaetzes of the world need to realize that they're not going to be able to get everything they want. And yeah, they can still whine and moan about it, and they can still go on some of the really aggressive right-wing channels and complain about stuff as a basis for raising money. But at the end of the day, they got to come together and get about the business of governing the country. So hopefully you will have the vast majority of the Republicans caucus will kind of have that come to who meeting over the weekend, and we'll come back on Monday and say, we've got to stop this foolishness. And we have to find somebody that we can all live with. And for the gang of 8 that overthrew Kevin McCarthy, maybe that means recognizing that this is what happens when you just launch into something and it's, like I say, it's ready, fire, aim. Okay, we've tossed out Kevin McCarthy, but we really don't have a workable plan moving forward. Maybe you just sit back over the weekend and say, okay, time to reassess this. It wouldn't be the craziest thing to see Kevin McCarthy renominated. Don't know that he wants it. Who wants this job? But in any event, Jim Jordan down in flames. He is now withdrawn his efforts because not only didn't he have the votes in the beginning, but every time they'd have a ballot, he lost more votes. Not a recipe for success. When we come back, well, it's another end of an era. I'll explain. We'll discuss.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
This is Libby Collins. Join me this Sunday morning at 11 o'clock for WTMJ Conversations when we talk with former Congressman Scott Klug about why we're not hearing more about voters in the middle. It's all this Sunday on Conversations.
There's nothing wrong with making the best case for your position in the most fiery way possible, but at the end of the day, you have to agree and move forward.
WTMJ Conversations, Sunday mornings at 11 on WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ's Jeff Wagner for the Freighter and the Medical College Wisconsin Health Network. Lifelong mobility is dependent upon healthy joints. We talked to Dr. Michael Decker, an orthopedic surgeon with the Freighter and the Medical College Wisconsin's Health Network. We learned how timely treatment of joint problems can help keep you moving, why these conditions are so common. We learned about non-surgical options and a lot more. You can listen to that conversation and all our previous everyday health discussions. I think we've been doing it for going on 15 years, simply by visiting the features drop-down menu at WTMJ.com.
When big national banks make a decision, it requires many emails, phone calls, and plenty of video conferences from around the globe. When we make a banking decision, we do it over a cup of coffee in our office. Finding a local bank that's passionate about the community and knows your name is hard to find these days.
Good morning, Diane. Welcome back.
The search is over.
Waterstone Bank, proud to be your local bank for over 100 years. Love your bank as much as we love this community. Waterstone Bank, Waukesha, Milwaukee, and Washington County.
Member FDIC.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Greg Scalzo for Smart Spaces. How can Smart Spaces transform your business?
Really looking at the entire space holistically. The environment, the walls, ceilings, lighting, flooring, furniture, technology, along with acoustics.
To conceptualize how the end users are going to interact with the room, from the furniture all the way down to the AV, having that work seamlessly within the environment and often hiding within the furniture.
Let Smart Spaces transform your business today. Visit smartspaceswi.com.
Welcome back to Ask Hassleus.
Can you help me come up with a good catchphrase?
Catchphrase?
You know, like YOLO.
How about BOGO?
What does it mean?
BOGO means buy one, get one.
Ah.
Now through Monday at Hassleus, buy a mattress,
Bo,
and get a box spring free.
Go.
Or take an equal amount off an adjustable base.
YOLO BOGO.
But if you wait too long, this deal is
no mo.
Find a self-service showroom near you or shop online at hassleus.com.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
This does not even sound good to me. Now, I like the occasional beer, and I like all different types of beer. But one of the things that I have felt for the longest time is that pumpkin beer is a crime against nature. I mean, seriously, pumpkin beer, I appreciate that, it's Thanksgiving time, it's the fall, you got lots of I like pumpkin pie, I get it, but pumpkin beer, and I admit that I am probably swimming upstream with this one because people love it. There's a story in the local newspaper, listen to this, and they talk about places where you can find pumpkin beer around here. Why anybody would go out of their way to find and drink pumpkin beer is beyond me, but all right. Three Sheeps Brewing, based out of Sheboygan. I know the guys that do that. They are bringing back Pumpkin Spice Veneration, an imperial pumpkin beer, 13.7% ABV. That's pretty darn high. Made with, it's a Belgian-style beer made with pie spice and aged in a rye whiskey barrel. Okay, if there's anything that's less appealing to me than a pumpkin beer, it's a pumpkin beer aged in a rye barrel. It gets better. Draft and Vessel on Oakland, they have a brandy barrel aged imperial pumpkin ale. So it's high alcohol pumpkin ale, and it's aged in a brandy barrel. So you got the taste of that. I mean, look, if I want pumpkin pie, I'm going to go with pumpkin pie, and if I want brandy, I'm going to drink brandy. Let's see. East Troy Brewing, they make their Jack-O-Lantern, an amber ale that is like drinking a slice of pumpkin pie with brown sugar. I mean, why? If I want pumpkin pie, I'm going to eat pumpkin pie. Foxtown Brewery up in Mequon, they've got Pumpkin Spice Latte, which is a pumpkin and yam beer. It's a pumpkin and yam beer. If I was trying to imagine two things that I would find least appealing to put in a beer, it would be pumpkin and then yam. Yam. Okay. They say it's not your basic batch of pumpkin beer, according to the beer's description, to which I would say, yeah, I get that. Indeed Brewing, which is on 2nd Street, they've got a tap room where they're serving pumpkin spice pistachio cream ale. Pumpkin spice pistachio cream ale. They take their pistachio cream ale. So beer that tastes like pistachio, and then they add pumpkin to it. I don't think so. Here's another place, Lion's Tail Brewing on North Avenue. They've got a pumpkin and yam beer as well. I'm just sorry. Here's one at Raised Grain. They make pumpkin. Their beer, Snakes and Spiders, has pumpkin puree. Okay. I see all this, and I understand once again that I am swimming upstream on this, but I swear, I just do not get it. Night Owl Pumpkin Ale from a brewery in Seattle, 150 pounds of pumpkin in each batch, plus pie spices. No, I just don't think so here. And then I understand that there's some people who are talking about how they love the pumpkin beer. Jeff, I'm not sure what's worse, pumpkin beer or peanut butter beer. I think and again, I'm not anti-pumpkin. I'm not a pumpkin hater. Don't get me wrong. I'm just, everywhere you go, everybody's got this pumpkin beer. And I've talked to a couple brewers, and they say, well, if we don't come out with pumpkin beer, we just get killed because, all our competitors come out with pumpkin beer. I don't know. I'm telling you, if you need stuff that there should be a law against, I think pumpkin beer might be a good start. When we come back, I don't know, get ready to say goodbye to an old favorite. Stick around.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
While you rest on the weekends, we work for you. Wisconsin's Weekend Morning News with Libby Collins. The latest in news.
Time to check in with Mark Cass, editor-in-chief of the Milwaukee Business Journal.
There's a big need for money in Milwaukee.
Entertainment.
Matt Miller from OnMilwaukee.com.
I've had enough Aaron Rodgers to last me a lifetime.
And more.
We got a busy show today.
Every Sunday morning starting at 8 on WTMJ.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day, and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry, with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here. I played sports my entire life, been hurt a lot of times, but never had been injured until I had to stop doing the sports I enjoyed because my knee flat wouldn't allow it. I visited Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, where they took great care of me. I put my knee in their doctors' capable hands, and now I'm back in the gym, carrying my golf bag, pain-free for 18 holes, and playing tennis as often as I like with no issues. I'd recommend Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin to anyone. Visit orthowisconsin.com.
It's spooky season, and we have monster deals at Heiser. Is your vehicle becoming a money-eating monster, causing your wallet to be as see-through as a ghost? Sleepless nights causing you to look like a zombie? Oh! Don't scream. Heiser will gladly take control of that scary monster. No tricks, just treats. Heiser will save you money and sleep on any of our new Chevrolets, Cadillacs, Toyotas, Fords, and Lincolns. And that includes our used vehicles, too. Because at Heiser, today's your day.
See dealer for complete details.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
See, I don't get why we put flavors in things. I mean, I was somewhere the other night, and somebody offered me, and I honestly don't remember where it was, they offered me a peach-flavored bourbon. Now, I am a bourbon drinker. I like bourbon. Why you would put peach flavor in bourbon, I don't get. And I understand that the marketing thing is, okay, maybe we can try to find people who just don't like to drink regular bourbon, and maybe we can, that'll appeal to people. But I don't like peach bourbon. Why would you do that? I mean, just don't mess with bourbon. Give me good bourbon. And for people who like peach stuff, well, okay, make peach beer or something like that. I'm cool with it. All right. I don't know if you saw the story. About a week or so ago, Best Buy is phasing out its DVD and Blu-ray sales. You used to be, you could go into a Best Buy, a lot of stores, and they'd have huge racks where they'd have DVDs and they have Blu-ray discs, with the different movies and things like that. Best Buy has announced that by early next year, their stores are no longer going to sell DVD and Blu-ray discs. They want the shelf space for something else. But they also say that their volume, people just aren't buying these anymore. And this, I think, goes along with what you saw with Netflix, that a couple months ago they stopped sending out. Used to be that you could rent the DVDs. That's how Netflix got started. You could rent the DVDs through the mail, and they would send them to you, and then you would return them. So, I mean, you have more and more companies who are now saying, okay, we are done with the physical DVDs, the physical Blu-ray discs, simply because this is not how people partake in the entertainment. Our number, only got a couple minutes because I need to let time for Pop Culture Corner, but our number is 855-616-1620. That is the Old National Bank talk and text line. All right, are you ready to see Blu-ray discs and DVDs go the way of the dinosaur, or do you still watch them? 855-616-1620. In our house, for example, we have one Blu-ray disc player, and I have a box, pretty big box of Blu-ray discs, maybe 2 boxes of Blu-ray discs that are in the basement. But they're in the basement. And the Blu-ray disc player is hooked up to, in my den. It's hooked up, so, I mean, theoretically, I know how to access it, and if I wanted to watch one of those movies, I could. I cannot tell you. I do not remember, though, the last time that I actually watched one of these various movies that I purchased over the years, because there's so much new content that's out there. And generally speaking, if I want to watch a movie, and they're not all available in streaming, I get it, but generally speaking, if I want to watch a movie between Netflix and Hulu and all these other things, they're there. I, honest to goodness, do not remember the last time I watched a Blu-ray disc, and I certainly don't remember the last time I purchased one. 855-616-1620, that's the Old National Bank talk and text line. All right, has technology made these things obsolete, just like technology made 8-track players obsolete? Just like technology made 45 RPM records obsolete. I was going to say the 33 1/3 records. I mean, vinyl's making a comeback a little bit, but it's still a niche thing. Just like technology got rid of the 8-track players. Just like technology did away with cassette tapes. Just like, CD players. Every car used to have a CD player in it. Good luck finding a new car with that in it now. 855-616-1620. All right, Best Buy says we're done. Best Buy says we're done. Netflix says we're done. All right. Is it time to write the epitaph for Blu-ray discs and DVDs? 855-616-1620. Let's start with Jeff in Fox Point. Jeff, you're first. Hello.
Hi, Jeff. I just watched a Blu-ray of the original Nightmare on Elm Street last night, and I'm going to hold on to my Blu-ray library as long as possible because I like having the physical items, and it helps me limit the amount of streaming services that I use that can really add up money-wise.
Yeah, I guess. When's the last time you purchased a new Blu-ray disc?
Oh, that is a really good question. I think I bought the movie Cobweb on Blu-ray about 2 weeks ago.
Okay,
and I ordered it from Amazon. No, I didn't order it from one of these other places.
Okay, no, thanks. Well, that was at least 2 weeks. I thought you were going to tell me, it might have been kind of like when I say, oh, we love the Domes. When did the last time you went to the Domes? Well, I don't know. I took my kid on a field trip. Well, when he was in 5th grade. Well, how old's your kid now? 40? This kind of thing. And again, I'm not look, Blu-ray discs, I mean, I have a ton of them, and I like the stuff because a lot of the Blu-ray discs, have features. You watch the movie, and then they've got director's interviews, and they've got outtakes and things like that. So I like it, but it's just not convenient anymore. And in all honesty, I honestly don't remember the last time I bought a Blu-ray disc. It's got to be years, just got to be years. Let's talk to Debbie in Oak Creek. Hi, Debbie. You're in WTMJ.
Hi. Listen, what is so inconvenient, or what do you find that you can't? They're out there all over the place. Blu-ray discs, and especially children's movies, like my grandson. Mm-hmm. He's a fan of Scooby-Doo, and you can't see those anywhere else. Maybe one here and there, but he's got the whole collection of them. And I have a ton of movies that I love that I like to watch more than once that I can't find on streaming.
Do you still buy them?
Oh, yes. I have a ton of them, and you still can buy them all over the place.
Oh, yeah, just not at Best Buy anymore after the holidays, and, not through Netflix and stuff. Yeah.
Well, I know there's a lot of things, but if it's something I really like, I like to watch it more than once.
Yeah, no, thanks for calling. Well, I mean, Debbie, I'm the guy that watches movies 10, 15, 20 times. I'm the one that my wife will walk in and say, okay, how many times have you seen this one? And I don't know, 15 or 20 times. Yeah, so I'm like that, and I understand that's the appeal. I'm just saying that this is one where, and I haven't gotten rid of them. I haven't taken them all to, Goodwill or anything, but I have to admit, I don't remember the last time I put a Blu-ray disc in. Now, I do understand also, by the way, if you've got kids or grandkids and you've got the kids' movies and they're going to watch Scooby-Doo or they're going to watch Winnie the Pooh or they're going to watch whatever this is, time after time after time, but right then you've got the appeal. You just pop the disc in and then, they occupy themselves. So I'm not calling for the elimination of them. I am saying that at least the marketplace right now is saying there's not a great future in them. If you want to buy them from Best Buy, though, you have until pretty much the beginning of next year. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, it is that time of the week, Pop Culture Corner, right around the corner.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
Do the changing seasons have you dreaming of that perfect sun-kissed getaway? From the Caribbean and Mexico to Hawaii or Florida, Fox World Travel's expert travel advisors can recommend their favorite beach resorts with Apple Vacations or island-hopping cruises with Princess Cruises and Royal Caribbean. What are you waiting for? Don't miss out on the best savings of the season. Visit foxworldtravel.com or call 866-GO-FOX-GO. There are memories to be made, and Fox has the expertise to get you there.
Hey, the future of joint pain relief is right here in Milwaukee. It's QC Kinetics, Advanced Regenerative Medicine, and it's amazing. Hey, it's Greg Matzik. If you've been told more steroids or surgery are your only options, don't be so fast. Get a second opinion and learn more about how you can harness your own body's healing agents to attack that joint pain. I'm talking lasting relief. QC Kinetics doesn't mask the pain. These treatments go to the very root of the problem, using concentrated healing properties placed directly in your joint to restore and repair that damaged tissue. Imagine living your life this fall with no more pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulder, or your back, with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Hey, life is all about motion, and QC Kinetics is giving people their lives back with these all-natural treatments. Call the local medical professionals and get a free consultation today. QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. Call 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Again, 414-285-3474.
Your first date? Going well. The carnival? Cash only. But you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you, with access to over 30,000 surcharge-free ATMs. So when you decide to win that giant stuffed purple raccoon at $5 a throw, we're looking out for you, no matter how many throws it takes. You've got this, with 30,000 surcharge-free ATMs from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Gather round all. It's time for Wagner's Pop Culture Corner. Time to put aside the heavy lifting and have a good time at the Old National Bank talk and text line at 855-616-1620. Old National Bank. Get old. Now, here's Jeff Wagner.
One of our texters says, discs are good when your internet goes down for days. That is true. About 2 weeks ago, the Spectrum box that powers the cable internet in the cul-de-sac I live on went down, so nobody had service for it took about a day to get it back up. And I did not go down, but if that had lasted much longer, I would have gone down to the Blu-ray disc thing, and I would have broken that out and done that. There's no question about it. Somebody else is talking about how they have all these. They've got all these different things that are going on there. They've got they've got 8 tracks, and I own multiple totally functional cassette, VHS, CD, DVD, and Blu-ray players and recorders. I also have a library of cassette music, VHS texts, music CDs, DVDs, and a few Blu-ray discs. I'm thinking I should donate it all to a pop culture media history museum. To which my response was, and I've told this story before, for years and years, I resisted the siren song of getting a new phone. And so finally, my wife just verbally abused me into it. I got tired of being mocked by everybody, but I had an iPhone 5S. So I go to the Apple store, I show the guy my phone, and I think he kind of like wants to bring over all the other salespeople to look because I'm the guy with the 5S. I said, hey, is there any trade-in value for this? He said, donate it to a museum. I said, okay, thank you, but what can you say? Time moves on. All right, this is, like the big voice guy says, this is Pop Culture Corner. We do this every week. It's our chance to stop talking about all the serious stuff that goes on and have a little bit of fun as we go into the good weekend. It is brought to you by Palermo's Pizza. We have our Palermo's Pizza prize package to give away. It's a coupon good for 2 pizzas and a pizza cutter and some other stuff as well. You can only get this, as far as I know, you can only get this pizza cutter through this. It is awarded exclusively in the discretion of my producer, Samantha. You're going to do this for one more time before you bail on me? Okay. Samantha is moving on to, I would say, bigger and better things. I don't know. She's going to be producing the afternoon show after this, but that's okay. You will be missed. You will be missed. That's one of the reasons I found out Samantha was leaving. I said, I'm going to retire. That's it. We're wrapping up 25 years. It's all my producer Samantha's fault. She's going to go work for John McCure, and that's okay. All right, I'm done with this. In any event, it's exclusively in her discretion, one of our callers. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? Let me get right to this. 50 years ago this month, October 5th of 1973, to be precise, Elton John released his 7th studio album, which was, by the way, and remains to this day, I believe, his biggest and most popular album, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. And if you were a child or a teen or, I don't know, into pop music in 1973, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road was one of these sort of revolutionary albums. It whether it was words or lyrics, whether it was the music, it was one of those where it was one of these incredibly successful things where you had all the ballads that were out there, there were rockers, and there were things like that. Plus you had the song Goodbye Yellow Brick Road itself, which was just an absolutely amazing song. As a matter of fact, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road is going to be, they're going to be, bringing out, I guess, like a new deluxe edition that's going to be coming out relatively soon. But it turns 50, and it was one of these sort of defining albums. And to this day, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road remains many people's favorite album. It is their ultimate album. So in reference and in deference and in respect to 50 years of Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, we're going to do a music topic today. 855-616-1620. That is the Old National Bank talk and text line. You get one album. Your one album, your favorite album of all time. If you're in that situation where it's you and the desert island and you've got the battery-powered charger that runs on solar stuff, and you get one album to take with you. You're on Survivor, you get that one album. What is your album going to be? Your favorite album of all time. 855-616-1620. And you can take it on vinyl as far as I'm concerned, or on like a CD, or on a cassette, or on an 8-track tape. They might have still even been around then. All right, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road turns 50. If your favorite album of all time isn't that, what is it? 855-616-1620. Back in a moment.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this on WTMJ.
Here in Wisconsin, one name is synonymous with fantastic frozen pizza, Palermo's. For almost 60 years, Palermo's has focused on feeding Wisconsin families. And though Palermo's has grown a lot since 1964, they're still family-owned. They're still proud to call Milwaukee home. And they're still committed to making the best frozen pizza possible. From their new and improved rising crust pizzas to their guilt-free Primo thin pies, Palermo's has a delicious slice for every appetite. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer food aisle. Palermo's, flavor is our family's business.
If you can't get a good night's sleep, let me ask you, are you breathing well? Because if you're snoring or waking up each night with a stuffed up nose, or frustrated with your CPAP mask, the root of your sleep problem lies in your breathing triangle. And if any one of those passages isn't working, you won't sleep well. And there's no mattress, pill, or other gimmick that can fix that. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. A recipe for a good night's sleep starts with an open airway. Now, there are devices that can help solve snoring or sleep apnea problems. If you walk into a sleep center, know you'll walk out with a CPAP. And you might find other options elsewhere, but the simple truth is, if your nose doesn't work properly, no device will help. Only at Advent will you find every effective snoring and sleep apnea solution, along with a world-class team that can get your nose working properly again.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Disability Rights Wisconsin's Medicare Part D helpline is here to help disabled or elderly Medicare beneficiaries with questions about their Part D prescription benefit. The Part D helpline may be able to help you save money on your Part D premium, deductible, and copays. Medicare annual open enrollment period runs October 15th through December 7th. For free, unbiased assistance, please call the Disability Rights Wisconsin Medicare Part D helpline any time of the year at 1-800-926-4862. 1-800-926-4862.
Annex Wealth Management, investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning from a fee-only fiduciary. Forget commission sales pitches and financial products you don't need. Know the difference. Annex provides elite, comprehensive financial planning customized to who you are and what you need. AnnexWealth.com.
Life is an exercise in judgment, a journey made in hope. Christians are a lot like everyone else on this journey. The only difference is that we're on a journey with Jesus. He is the difference with Christian hope.
Hear Dr. Michael Ziegler's message, Matching Pace, this week on The Lutheran Hour.
The Lutheran Hour, Sunday mornings at 6:30 on WTMJ.
I'm Randy Miller. In 1969, my Uncle Lou started a roofing and siding business called All Right. That company joined NARI, the National Association Remodeling Industry. 50 years later, I'm proud to be at the helm of both All Right and NARI Milwaukee as president. Integrity, ethics, and high standards build a legacy both in business and in life. I learned this from my Uncle Lou and the NARI leaders before me. Learn more at ALLRITE remodeling.com/NARI.
It's pop culture time. Now back to take your calls. Here's Jeff Wagner.
Boy, this is taking me down memory lane. One of our John and Berling texts. John says, my favorite album of all time is John Prine's Sweet Revenge. A huge fan of John Prine. He passed away a couple of years ago, way too soon. And I said that Sweet Revenge was the first. That was the first John Prine album I bought. I got turned on to John Prine by a guy who, from Marshall University in West Virginia, who was playing John Prine songs, and it was like, wow, okay. And then I had to buy up everything and followed his career. Okay, 855-616-1620. Let's talk to Matt in Watertown. Matt, you're first. Hello.
Hi, you got me?
I got you. You're on.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Okay. Pink Floyd, The Wall. 1973, October 5th. That was my 13th birthday when that came out.
Okay.
So a little bit later, I was a little bit older when I got more into music.
Oh yeah, thanks for calling. The reason that one has, I'm going to tell the story really, really quickly. When I was in law school, my buddy and I, Steve, we lived in this condo complex off of 60th and Brown Deer. And the guys who lived next door to us, nobody really lived there. So we got a bunch of people who worked at this railroad, and they decided rather than going to bars after second shift, it would be cheaper to rent a place for parties. And so they rented a place for parties. And so whenever second shift ended, 11 to 11:30, all these people used to descend, and they would crank up Pink Floyd The Wall with the helicopter sound that starts at the beginning, wake us up at like it's 1 in the morning. I'm in law school. It's like, oh, for God's sake. So I cannot think of Pink Floyd The Wall without thinking of that particular tune. Let's talk to Chris in Elm Grove. Chris, you're on WTMJ. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
My favorite album would be Supertramp, Breakfast in America.
Okay, a lot of people, it's funny, a lot of people are saying that. Why do you like that one so much? Why is that your one album?
I guess it just brings me back to high school, my 72 Dodge Charger, my 8-track player, and life was good.
Isn't it amazing? We say, Chris, we say 8-track players, and people just have no idea what an 8-track player is or why anybody would listen to something on an 8-track.
Life was simple then.
It was. Thanks for the call. I mean, these 8-track players, they're kind of like the old cartridges that we used to have commercials on and stuff here at the radio station. But they'd cut out in the middle of the song. It's not like at the end of a song they'd automatically change track. They change from tracks right in the middle of the song. But I mean, the sound quality they'd argue was superior to. They'd argue that the sound quality was superior. I don't know about that. Pat in Oak Creek. Pat, you're on WTMJ. Hello. Oh, I'm sorry, Bill. Bill, you're on WTMJ. Hello.
Hi, Jeff. It's before I tell you my album, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. I was in 8th or 9th grade, and that's the reason that girl went out with me, because I knew about that song. So.
yeah.
All
See,
right, and,
go ahead.
No.
Whatever, Bill, whatever it takes to get a date when you're like in high school or in middle school, I'm all in favor of that. That's great.
When I hear that song, I still think about her. Yep. All right, I got another Supertramp, Crime of the Century.
Yeah.
And I was in college. Now, so I go from 8th or 9th grade. Now I'm in college, and I remember this song or that whole album.
Oh yeah, I think so. You got to go for that. When I was in college, if you wanted to get dates, it was Carol King's Tapestry. Even if you didn't like it, you had to pretend that you liked it because that's just what you had to do. Let's talk to Pat in Oak Creek. Pat, you're on WTMJ. Hello.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Pat. Go ahead.
My favorite album would be Joshua Tree by U2.
Yeah. That's, U2 for that period of time when they were just big in the 90s and stuff, the type of things that they were producing was just absolutely amazing. And Joshua Tree, I would agree. I think it's certainly their best album, and it's one that's timeless. It stands up really well.
Yes, I'm on my way to Vegas to see them at the Sphere.
Okay, all right. I was going to ask that because I have a couple friends who just either are going to Vegas or getting back from Vegas, and they've been in the Sphere, but they haven't seen U2. I'm told it is absolutely spectacular. I'm sure it's going to be a great show.
Oh, I sure hope so.
Can I ask you a tough question? Can I ask you how much the tickets cost?
Oh, about $400 a piece.
Well, it better be a good show.
Pat, I hope so.
Pat, thanks for calling. It better be a good show. No question about that. Let's talk that's good. I understand it, and the Sphere is supposed to be really cool. Doug in Muskego. Doug, you're on WTMJ.
How you doing, Jeff?
I'm good, thanks.
For me, I stayed with the 1973. It's Dark Side of the Moon. When the album came out.
Hey, tell me
what. I was 8 years old, but I remember my brother having it on vinyl.
Okay. So your brother got you turned on to that, and see, that's what older brothers are for. They're supposed to help you cultivate your musical taste. My brother would tell you I did that. No, Doug, you are the winner. Dark Side of the Moon comes through, so you win our Palermo's Pizza prize package for today. So have a couple pizzas on WTMJ, okay?
Oh, thank you, Jeff.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Let's sneak in one more call here. I want to talk to Karen in Germantown. Karen, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Well, hi there. How are you?
I am well, thank you. Okay, your one favorite album of all time.
I know you burst my bubble. It was Carole King Tapestry.
I'm not saying I didn't like it. I'm just saying that if you were in college when I was in college, all the girls liked it, and so if you wanted to get dates, you had to like it or pretend to like it. And there's a lot of great songs on that album.
There's one after another. I look for an album to give me just song after song after song that I know. The other one would be the Beatles' Rubber Soul.
Yeah, Rubber Soul was good. I'm trying to think of Carol, and I'm trying to think of Tapestry. You Feel the Earth Move Under My Feet. I remember that was one. Yeah, well, that was the one. Yeah, no, thanks. It's funny. This is bringing back memories of a gal I dated in college, and I can remember that record. Yes, it was a record. The thing was always on. Always on, and it was played. We'd play it over and over again. That and oh my God, I'm embarrassed to admit this. Neil Diamond's "Hot August Night," like a double record. No, and if you wanted that was it. If you wanted to make time with the ladies back when I was in college, Neil Diamond, "Hot August Night," and Carole King's "Tapestry." And look, and I was a bit of a rocker and stuff, but I was good at faking it because I liked this girl, no question about it. Liked this girl. She was studying to be a medical technologist. I let her practice drawing blood on me. Now it didn't work out ultimately, but what can you say? She drew blood, and we'd listen to Neil Diamond, we'd listen to Carole, we'd listen to Carole King and Tapestry. Things you do in college for love. All right, when we come back. John McCure, Brian Gotter, remember him? Yeah, he's that TV guy, or the former TV guy. We'll find out what they have on their minds for Wisconsin's Afternoon News. Do not go anywhere, please.
Thanks for participating in this week's Pop Culture Corner. Stay tuned next week for another pop culture topic. Everything you need to know on your way home.
Former Governor Tommy Thompson.
You run us